know what it's related to.
Yeah, so we'll see. But good morning. I guess we're not live on Facebook right now for Cawfee Talk. We might be, but it's telling me that I'm blocked from posting on Facebook. I couldn't share. So how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. You know, just enjoying my my day at home. Been pretty relaxed these last couple weeks. You know, still working, but work slowed down for sure.
Yeah. So you know, before we get into that, I want to hear what you're doing now, and you know how the SKATECASE has evolved, and what else is going on with you. But why do you think that I got blocked on YouTube? What's your thought?
It has to do with I'm gonna spell it so we don't get blocked here on YouTube and Facebook. But FIVE, is that right? FIVE, yeah. And then the G. I've heard people having to censor that word when they say it on
really the 5G. Yeah, wow. You know, but I know why they did block me, because they sent me a thing. I put a picture. So my wife's store is carrying pre-rolls, and I put a picture of the description of the 6 different pre-rolls that are carried here, and it flagged that picture.
Right.
So, and I wasn't advertising for it or anything, but that's why it says that I violated community standards. But the first thing that came to my mind was, I wonder if I violated for what we've been talking about, or what we are going to talk about.
Right. No, I mean, you've definitely covered a lot of different topics, and not always following the mainstream way, you know, might get you in trouble when it comes to censorship.
Yeah. So, you know, we've been shadow banned in the past with, you know, Florida Cannabis Coalition. Yep. You experienced it you were on the board of Central Florida Normal, from what I remember. But, you know, let's get into that. You know, what have you been doing? What's new in your world? You know, for the viewers that, you know, are not keeping up to date with SKATECASE.
Right. Well, basically, SKATECASE is still evolving. I guess I'll just go ahead and grab the newest board. I have it right here. But originally, they were all handmade. And for people that don't even know what SKATECASE is, it's very simply a skateboard you can open and put your stuff inside. And so you can see I've been skating around, and you got to stay safe. And so inside the board, I've got my bandana, right? You know, put it on and ready to go in stores and stuff. But along with SKATECASE is the Ollie, the SKATECASE cartoon character, you know, and he promotes innovation, creativity, and sustainability. And the reason I created him was because when I first started doing SKATECASE, I kind of got a lot of, you know, press from the media, and I was working at an after-school martial arts program, and it seemed like a good idea to kind of put a good message out into the world, you know. And so I created Ollie the SKATECASE to have a positive impact on society. And basically, so that's SKATECASE. I've been doing that. I've also been working on.
Do you have any of your original, the one, you know, I want to catch up. When I first met Alex, you know, he was carving these out of wood in his garage, you know, and setting up at markets, like art markets, and displaying them. But on top of that, you had some really famous, you know, customers, like, you know, the CEO of the Tampa Bay Lightning, from what I remember.
Right. So I have made a couple very custom. I have one right here, actually. I can show you, original handmade. But I've made a few. Yeah, I made one for Jeff Vinnick, Tampa Bay Lightning. That was actually ordered by Judy Genschaft, the president of USF. She ordered a few of them to give out to different people. But so here's a handmade longboard.
Wasn't this at the Smithsonian?
Yeah, this one was. So I got invited to exhibit at the Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian, and so I made this one, which is an ode to Neil Armstrong. Let me see this way. And so inside I put aliens on. You know, people know about that. And but yeah, ode to Neil Armstrong putting the American flag on the moon. And so that was right next to the return module. So I did that one. I also made, as far as like custom boards that ended up going places, I made one for Judy Genschaft herself, which was USF themed, and she ended up taking it to the White House, giving a speech on innovation and creativity, and then giving it to a member of President Obama's cabinet.
Wow.
Yeah, so don't want to disclose the name, but I did a little secret message on that one. Underneath the grip art, I put a little Illuminati eye, and then I did a little flower, you know, like peace, guys.
Now you received the patent on the design.
Yep.
for SKATECASE. You know, tell us a little bit about where SKATECASE came from originally and how you made those first few boards before, you know, you got a little bit of notoriety with the college there.
Well, basically, I learned to skate in Colorado, the University of Colorado in Boulder. And I had made a whole bunch of wacky boards. I made one that was for 2 people to go downhill. So you'd literally have to say right, and you both lean right, you both lean left. I put wings on a board. I figured if I bombed a hill fast enough, I could get some air. But then, you know, and when I was at USF, though, for studying my master's, I got really tired of having the whole backpack thing. All I ever had was a TI-83 calculator, pencil, and a notepad. And so I built a board I could just put my stuff inside. I actually have the very first original in the other room. If you want me to go grab it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see it.
1 second. Yeah.
When I first met Alex, he was set up at a market. He actually came into Ybor City, and we saw these original boards, and I was blown away with what he was doing. There it is.
Yeah, so this is an original skate case. Super thick, literally 2 old skateboards, right? And then latches from Home Depot, handle from Home Depot, USF. And inside it had, you know, creative foam. And you put you attach your trucks from the inside right here. And my professor, his name was Franco Lodato, and he designed Ferraris. He's the inventor that's responsible for putting the rubber grip on the toothbrush.
Really?
He's also the inventor that put multiple razors on a razor blade, and he designed the first flat phone with Motorola called the Razor. And so he was teaching the class, and he said, "You need to patent that thing right now." And so then I met with him after class every day, and he taught me how to patent things essentially. So I did the provisional patent work myself, and then he connected me with USF's Department of Patents and Licensing, and we filed for the non-provisional. 3 years, 9 days later, you know, patent on SKATECASE. So
that's amazing. You know, so many people, a patent is like the holy grail of an idea. It is a validation, and it's so difficult. So many people have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to receive their patent, and you actually did it through your college program.
Yes, sir. Very lucky in that regard too, because I don't have much background in law. You know, I studied astrophysics and engineering. And so just to be able to go to their office and say, hey, this is the idea, and have them help me, you know, finalize it, because Franco taught me a lot. But when it came to finalizing the patent and getting one through, USF was big there. But it's like you were saying, it's the holy grail. It is, but it's also not, right? Because it's just the very, very beginning of actually developing a product and then marketing it and making sales, you know?
It's so true. You know, I received a patent in the past on something, and then, you know, we had to sue somebody to validate the patent, and it was, you know, a lot of, and I know I shared that with you, but
yeah.
You know, what's a great thing about your product, and, you know, you've taken it a little bit farther, and now you've commercialized it, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about where it's come to now, you know, from that first case.
Well, I mean, it's still a small company, as in the fact that it's basically just me and my family running the whole show. You know, I get help from people every now and then, but basically I have the manufacturing set up. So the boards are injection molded. They're glass-filled polypropylene. So meaning they're reinforced with glass fibers. So they're super strong. This board, you know, I've got to the point where it glows in the dark. Like this lid glows in the dark.
Really?
Yeah. So from hand making,
it fits an iPad, and it'll fit a tablet.
Yeah. Inside this one right now, I just have some coloring stuff. It's kind of hard to angle up without having things fall out, but yeah. So I just have some coloring stuff, and I have a book of poetry in here, something we also released to go along with the whole message of kind of a new spirit of humanity, because a lot of people focus on only making money, things of that nature. And so we kind of like all of this SKATECASE cartoon, the poetry, it's all about having people become more aware of their physical actions and their lives, like why they do the things they do in their life almost. But so as far as the skateboard, you know, we've got them manufactured. We've made display cases, and they're in 2 stores here in Florida right now: Anchor Skate Supply in St. Petersburg and Westside Skate Shop in Tarpon Springs, Florida. So and then I have the online website SKATECASE, right?
So there's 2 things. There's Ollie, which is the character, and I know the deck of cards that was a lot like Pokemon, or
right.
Yeah, that went along with it, or like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but the intent of that was to help educate kids because you were teaching, in the martial arts school as well. There they are. Yeah.
Right, here you go. So it's called Ollie Man. Instead of Pokemon, it's Ollie Man. And the character, here's a good example of a character. His name's Chromithium Nolly. And they battle with their groove and their skis. And so it's not really coming out clear, but his groove is 180 and his skis is 70. And so they use their groove and their skis to battle. There's characters like the ski patrol guy, the sun. What else do we have? We have Gnarly the Narwhal, the snow.
Is there a Corona yet?
That's probably the newest character. He's going to be the Corona.
And everybody stays 6 feet away from him?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. His move will be stay 6 feet back.
Poor Corona, right? Nobody.
It's a headache, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's true. We're living it right now, and we're all very social people. So being at home or being segregated and not able to either go out and hug people or interact. Right. The skateboard community is a very close-knit community as well. What do you know? I know it's very linked to the surf community.
Well, it's very highly event orientated in a way when it comes to the public skate community, and there's no events happening right now.
Yeah, so they're all shut down. So
they're all shut down. They've even filled the skate parks in California with sand. They had big dozers come through with sand and literally fill up the skate park. But skaters are pretty intuitive, so they started dirt biking on them and stuff. But the fact that they're going around filling skate parks with sand is, I don't know, it's interesting.
It's skating is it's an activity that a lot of people use as an escape or as a coping mechanism, just like jiu-jitsu. You've seen me with Robbie on here, and with his gym closed down, and we're isolating a lot of people and not allowing them to do the things that keep them sane.
Yeah, I mean, I started at a martial arts academy doing a lot of the work, and it looks like all these martial arts schools are teaching classes online. Yeah, and it's they're doing their job, they're doing a great job, but it's challenging to engage students when you're not there in person. Especially with martial arts, because reaction times and things of that nature. You still get the discipline aspect of it. If anything, you get more discipline because you don't have someone right in front of you, and you have to still focus. So it's a different type of discipline, but I could see it being extremely challenging for gyms right now, and then also restaurants are having a hard time. Clearly. Hotels. Yeah.
Well, it looks like they're going to open up hotel pools in St. Pete, Clearwater. Where are you right now? Are you in Hillsborough County, city of Tampa?
Currently, I am in Hillsborough County. Yep. So I'm right by next to Busch Gardens, and that's an ominous sight right there with the roller coasters just sitting stagnant, not moving at all. But
and all the employees that work at Busch Gardens and at the college. As well, you're up near, and I guess Hillsborough County's now decided that they're going to extend till the 15th of May, it looks like.
Right. I mean, and it could keep going further and further. It could end it could end tomorrow. I don't really know. So it really comes down to enjoying the now, I guess, and so that's why I guess in a sense I'm lucky. I guess construction is still considered essential. And so I do the skateboard thing. And then I also am an engineer and like construction kind of guy. And so I'm still working on the boats and then installing windows and doors.
Wow. So Alex is one of those guys that he's a jack of all trades. You've written a few other books as well. There was one on astrophysics.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I have a copy near me. And it's interesting because this is actually the book that led me to your office.
Yeah.
In a short, so I learned in my dreams. It's just a thing that's a fact. When I was 5 years old, I woke up from a dream knowing how to ride a bicycle. Told my brother I know how to ride a bike. He took the training wheels off my bicycle, and I rode by myself.
Wow.
So I've been learning in my dreams, and I did study astrophysics for 5 years. I have a degree in astrophysics, but I'm also like a lifetime practitioner of meditative martial arts. And so I noticed that there's a lot of the problem with science is that it's being filtered through the human brain is the easiest way to put it. And so what I have here is a book called Your Influence in Space. And I wrote the whole thing in 3 days after I became extremely stressed after a dream. What's interesting is I self-published. I took it to an art show that weekend, and I met this guy. His name was Rick, and he bought 20 copies of the book. And then he took me around trying to help out with his green tech company called Bullet Tech. And that's how he introduced me to your office. And then that's when you started helping me a whole bunch with SKATECASE and everything else.
Wow, that time flew by, really quickly when you think about it. Because you came in with an idea, a concept, and not everything was easy, obviously. But eventually, you got some grant funding, you got some funding that helped you to facilitate it and bring it to the next level. And that's where the SKATECASE is now. And now it's actually being sold in a few stores and a little bit past, just your hobby that you were doing.
Yeah, it's definitely past the point of a hobby. It's the point where it was almost too stressful. So you know how you have the pacing of life. You get really into something, you get a little burnt out, you get back into it. You could say that happened a whole bunch of times, because you file for a patent, you get excited. Well, then you have to wait 3 years for it to get issued. But the whole time I'm building boards and everything, but then it gets issued. That's another burst of energy, right? And then it's like, well, now I need manufacturing. So you raise capital again. But then you raise the capital for manufacturing, you get another burst of energy, right? And then it's like, oh, now I need to order some boards, and then you get your boards in. So it's a kind of a constant pacing, and so it's good to have that settledness in a way of meditation, doing the things you do like jujitsu, martial arts, whatever.
How old are you right now, Alex? If you don't
35.
mind. 35?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. So when we met, you were 30. I remember you taught me something. You deleted Facebook from your phone when we first met, because I remember I was like, hey, I've got to, connect with you. And you're like, no, it's became too stressful. I was looking at my phone all the time. And you know what? A few months back, I deleted Facebook from my phone, and I was thinking of you when I did it.
Right. And
probably one of the best things that I've done.
Well, I wrote a poem on that too, actually, and I'd be glad to share it. But it has a lot to do with your influence and not your, but like in general, human influence, human confidence, and the people you connect with. But I grew up before Facebook and the internet. So did you. The internet was a new thing when I was a kid. I was literally put on TV. My oldest brother is a genius, and I was playing Doom over the internet, and it was like a big deal. And so Fox came in and they were filming me play video games. They used the clip. I swear they used that clip in the movie Jurassic Park, the original. But then basically, so the internet came out. Everybody kind of got a new ego, an instant gratification ego, this new sense of almost like an electronic identity, right? It's a brand new thing. And so now you have 5,000 people in your life, or the entire internet, as opposed to the 5 people in your life that you have, like your really close friends and family that really inspire you. They know you. They know when you say something. They're not going to instantly criticize you or judge you. They're not going to write a paragraph response to a comment you made. They'll talk to you like a person. There'll be human to human interaction. It's not this Facebook sham. Like it's not even the real world.
And we've seen that a lot recently where, I know you've blocked some people that have come in because it's wild. You can make a post, you're trying to put out some positivity out there, and somebody you don't know will come in and just attack you for your viewpoint.
Literally attack you. And then when you try to have some type of genuine conversation, it's an attack again on your character. It has nothing to do with the actual content of the conversation. The person's just, I don't agree, so I'm going to attack your character. And that's all you see.
A lot lately with the different viewpoints on the quarantine, and we've been seeing that a lot differently with viewpoints on wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, and people have very strong beliefs, and for some reason, if they don't feel that you believe the same way, you're an enemy.
Well, I've been recently called irresponsible for making a post that said that you could make ventilators using leaf blower equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, I'm a creative person, and I see ways to solve. My dad's a cardiothoracic surgeon. His best friend designed the heart-lung machine. It did not. So he had one, his other friend had, and then the other guy had one the FDA didn't approve his, even though it worked perfectly fine. And so it's like FDA now regulates what can be used, even though you have working machines. There's a whole bunch of politics behind the background, behind the scene. And it's like, yeah, I could make a ventilator out of leaf blower parts, check valves, and oxygen, you know, and you can do it. It can happen. But you have people that are so like worried, I guess, because there is this consequence of death, right? This COVID thing's real. It is killing people. And so it's like, you can't be silly, right, or creative when people are dying, right? We need to be super serious, you know, and so that's
life or death and fear, you know.
And that's one thing too, is that people play off fear, and fear is the one thing that'll get you to sit still, right? Because what is it? It's you either run, you sit still, or you fight. And so people are living in fear right now.
It's the fight or flight instinct.
Exactly.
You know, in caveman days, you know, you walked out, you saw a lion, you either froze and he ate you, or you ran, or you fought him.
Right.
And that's our physiological response to stress.
Right.
You know, where we have that fight or flight. And, you know, a lot of people, this is the first fight that they've been in, you know, because they've not faced adversity or anything before. So it's the first time they've ever been in a very stressful situation. They don't know.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I agree 100%, you know, what you're saying. Yeah.
So I see that that's what's happening, and they're lashing out online because it's almost like a way of acting out, just like, you know, when somebody's scared and they puff up and, you know, and make it like they're angry, or, you know, they exhibit emotions that are not really representative of how they're feeling, that they're afraid. Right. You know, I think we have a lot of people out there right now that are afraid. They're afraid of when they're going to go back to work. They're afraid of contracting a disease that's going to possibly kill them. They're afraid of transmitting a disease that can hurt grandma. But at the same time, you know, we have to be, you know, courageous at some point, you know, about things, and logical as well.
Well, I think logic has a lot to do with it, because a lot of people just look at, and I hate sounding like a fake news kind of guy, but I mean, a lot of people just watch the news, and the news doesn't really do proper journalism anymore, to where they go out and investigate. You know, they just hear what someone says, and then they'll read an article, and since when is it okay for a news company to quote another news company as their source?
That's recently, that's all I see. Right. Everywhere, you know, Fox is quoting CNN, and CNN is quoting Fox. They're doing news on each other's news stations. Right.
And so at that point, I mean, it's like he said, she said, and you've already played that telephone game to the point where it's like you've had three people say something, and now the message is completely construed. And so there's a lot of that going on. And then if you scroll through Facebook, like, I still have it because of my business, and so I'll scroll through stuff and I'll see stuff, but I don't interact as much as I used to. But literally 4 out of 5 posts are about COVID, and they're about Trump. So basically, not only is it bad for the spirit, it's bad for the mind. Like,
because you're exposing yourself to all this on a constant basis.
Well, constant nonsense. And then what do you think about throughout the day? Instead of being a creative individual and a creative human, like doing your job, like I want to sell skateboards. Why am I thinking about COVID-19 and Trump? It has nothing to do with my life. And yet it's filled maybe 3 billion people's lives right now, like that are sitting on lockdown. That's all they can think about. And so the human consciousness is being blocked. And that's a good amount of energy, you know? Not only that, but by staying home, like you said, and worrying and living in fear, you're stressing yourself out. And the number one cause of death in the US, I believe, is heart disease. And the number one cause of heart disease is stress. And so what we're doing right now is weakening our immune systems. And it just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of it doesn't make sense, the whole fear-inducing aspect of it. It should be more, it could be, right? I don't want to say it should be. It could be more of a calming aspect from the media. Hey, we had this big thing come out. Everything's getting better. We're staying at home. We're all working through this together. It doesn't need to be a fear-inducing, you know.
Yeah, not just fear, but almost hate mongering or anger,
right,
you know, towards others that don't agree for whatever reason. You know, whether their business is suffering right now and they feel that they have to get back out there, or the fact that, this is really affecting people mentally. There was that nurse that committed suicide,
Right.
That we saw, and countless so many other people that are being isolated right now that shouldn't be isolated.
Yeah, it's not good for the human spirit. It's not natural to be locked up in your home, not able to go out. But at the same time, right, we need to respect the fact that there is a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
And
so while you're home, what have you been doing while you've been home? Are you writing poetry? You got a new book?
I've been working on a new coloring book.
Really?
Yeah. I might have a hand-drawn. Give me 1 second, see if I can find something for you.
So Alex is one of the most multi-talented individuals that I've met over the years. He's also an expert pianist. I'm bragging about you while you walked away, and I.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, he classical pianist. He's, a writer. He's a artist. He's an inventor. He also gets out there and lives on the land.
I just got done with my 8-month, you could say, sabbatical, living in a camper out in the woods. Yeah, it was good. I've been in a house now for the last month. I moved back. It's nice to have running water. It's nice to not have to go for water, to power your generator when you get home. But as far as coloring,
yeah,
this will come out. So this was like one that wasn't very challenging. And it's just an idea. I'm kind of getting back into making the coloring book. So I wanted to make it more complicated for adults, right? And so this one's the nicest one so far. Right. And so that's Ollie playing guitar, surrounded by music and, whatever else.
And you're trying to send a message in each one of your pieces of art as well. Usually.
Yeah. That's the huge thing, too. And that's because there's a lot of mediums and people learn a lot of different ways. They learn through sound, they learn through touch, they learn through feeling, conversations. And so you could say, using all the different artistic mediums, you can engage all the different audiences. And so that's why I like to Ollie the SKATECASE, because it's a good way to engage the youth. Yeah.
It's wild. I don't know. Did you see the YouTube movie Out of the Shadows?
I did.
Yeah, pretty interesting. News, or that it's been proposed, that's been done. But logically, you can see how that's happened over the years. That messages have been put out there, whether it's in hidden messages within movies, in artwork, and you wonder when those things will be decoded. One of my favorite movies of all time is National Treasure. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, but, that's the one where the guy's like, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence, right?
Yeah.
Code on the back. And well, that's kind of why I did that with the skateboard too. I did the little Illuminati eye. And then next to that, I put a little flower, and then next to that, I said E does not equal MC squared, and I sent it off to the White House to let them know, like, hey, I know. Well, there are hidden technologies. There's no question about that, and they're not necessarily hidden. It's more that the military needs to stay ahead of the public, in their view, and so they're always at least 30 years ahead technologically. And so when you think your iPad's cool, imagine what your iPad looks like in 30 years.
Wow.
When you think your airplane's cool, imagine your airplane in 30 years. Like that's a more realistic view of technology that exists today.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. I've met some people that worked at the military base here in Tampa, and the things that they told me years ago that are coming around now, like AI moving body equipment that the soldiers have, that
like mechano suits, like big suits that you can walk around, almost like Iron Man.
Exactly. Some of that stuff that's out there right now with the AI vehicles and the ability to turn a phone on, what Snowden has come out and basically released, that I was told by a guy that knew his wife was cheating on him, that worked at the military, that could turn his wife's phone off on at any time that he wanted to. And this was about 12 years ago.
Well, yeah. And I mean, as far as that kind of technology, there's a lot of potential with electromagnetism and smart grid systems to really do anything you want. It's you know, it can be overwhelming, but you have to think both positive and negative, right? So there's going to be a lot of benefits that come from it too.
So that's where we come to, you know, technology being used with coronavirus with this contact tracing. And I know some countries have come out and they said, no way, we're not doing it because
it's a little too much.
You know,
yeah,
what do
it
you
seems
know
like it's a little too much, and definitely invasion. I believe China has it right now to where the 5G towers can detect the vibrations in the air or like your face. I'm not sure which one it is, but you literally say Uber and like an Uber will pull up. You don't have to have your phone. And so it's a disconnect between, you don't need your phone anymore because everything's looking at you.
Wow.
Right. And so where's your privacy? You really don't have any at all.
And we have those cameras in Ybor City. Right. We have facial recognition cameras all over Ybor City. And I know you know Pete Sessa. So when Pete first came to work with me, he came from New York and he worked with the weather or the traffic, you know, the road report. And the way that that worked was at that time there were Bluetooth signals on the tire for air pressure, which sent the signal of how much air pressure was in the tires of the cars. Right. Well, the towers were able to read that, and they were able to see. I see Pete saying, "Now we wear masks." So, Pete, if you remember what I'm talking about right now was how they used to be able to track vehicles and how fast they were going down the highway, and that's how they saw, you know, how traffic jams were.
Yeah.
So Pete's saying there's no facial recognition.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Definitely does not exist. I think that's the newest thing they have on your iPhone now. To even like unlock your iPhone, you can use facial recognition, right? You can use a thumbprint. You can use facial recognition.
Well, you know, I always thought about it. I was like, Disney World and Universal Studios has the largest, you know, data set of people's fingerprints.
Right.
Because you use your fingerprint to get into the park from all over the world. Then you think about Apple. They did it for all those years with your thumbprint on your phone to unlock it, you know, which now they have everybody's thumbprint. And then now they have, you know, facial recognition.
Yeah. Not only that, but I hear that vocal recognition is actually more advanced than facial recognition. Just throwing that out there.
Really?
Yeah, as far as the actual technologies behind it.
Here, let me see if I could bring Pete on here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Pete, I'm going to send you a link right now. Pete, I just sent it through your Facebook Messenger. Oh, man, I'm restricted. I can't send it.
Wow.
Pete, hold on. I'm going to text it to you.
That's funny. Yeah, well, Tom blew me up, so I'll blow him up. He helped me out when I first started with SKATECASE. Gave me office space and connected me to a lot of people. It's been very helpful. I was blowing you up a little bit just now. There you go.
Yeah, so we were working out of the same room for a while, and
the Common Bond Collaborative out in Ybor. Yep.
All right, let's see here. Let me send it. Pete, I'm going to send you a text message. Man, it won't even let me send messages through Facebook Messenger right now. I can't believe this is the first time I've been totally blocked.
Was that started today?
Yeah, it said I have 19 more hours. So, you know, I can't believe that. So I'm in Facebook jail. So
I've heard about people going to Facebook jail, and it has a lot to do with fake news, or news that Facebook doesn't think is real. But you said it's because of a cannabis.
Yeah, I took a picture. Carlos T has some new strains of pre-rolls, hemp pre-rolls. And
what's the name of that place again?
Of where I'm at?
The Carlos, does he have them with you then?
Life Medi. So he has it here at our chill coffee place.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, so he dropped off, you know, 6 new strains of hemp pre-rolls yesterday. Right. So I posted, you know, a image of it onto the page saying we have 6 new pre-rolls. That's it.
And Facebook jail.
Yeah, Facebook jail. But now, unfortunately, it's flagged that account, so I know it's going to watch everything that I post now.
Yeah, I've been put there before, and I think and it even said like this data is not, and it was just me like talking about one of my astrophysics theories, and they were saying this isn't real. They blocked it. They were like, no.
So they blocked it as not real news?
You had to uncover it, and that you had to be notified before you could look at it.
Wow.
Yeah, they do that.
I've seen that a few times. There's a picture of a whole bunch of people at the beach, and I guess they found that it was actually a picture from years ago. And here's Pete, and they found it as fake news. Look at this with his new haircut.
I saw it. It's good.
Hey Pete, so what we were starting to talk about was, remember when you used to tell me about how they tracked traffic off of the Bluetooth signal off of your tires, right? Hold on, I don't think. Can we hear you? Can you hear me? I can't hear him. Alex,
microphone issues.
I think it was Pete. Can you hear me? Alex?
Oh yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, no, I can't hear Pete.
Okay, all right. So we were both.
Yeah.
He logged off. I think he's going to come back. It was something with his microphone.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I have him muted in real life and fake life. No, there he is.
All right. This program seems to work way better on the phone.
See, we censored you here.
What was that?
We were censoring you until we approved of what you said.
Yeah, we've got a 5-second delay. Just make sure it's okay,
We got you on a 5-second delay. But I was just thinking about, the traffic. Tell us about the traffic, how it used to track cars.
Oh, well, they had a couple of different technologies at the time, and one of them was basically they track cell phone pings. So your cell phone pings towers constantly, and those towers are spaced apart, so it can tell the time it took from one ping to another ping, and that's how it measure how fast you're going, how fast the phone is going. So basically they were tracking, millions of cell phones like on the roads, like traveling in between these towers. And that's, I think, how they measure speed and flow traffic now. It was called SigAlert was the company that was putting it together. But that's how I think it's done nowadays. And then they used to do it basically through radar, speed cameras and stuff from the helicopters and the planes that give you traffic tickets.
Yeah.
But before that, I mean, then they built the whole industry on all these cameras and stuff to try and predict speed and flow. And then cell phones came along, and then now they could just track those, and it's way easier.
Yeah, and the first time I ever realized it was, you ever been at an event and you have Facebook on your phone, and then you go back to your hotel room, and all of a sudden it suggests the friends of the people you just met.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That proximity stuff. It's funny, right?
It's crazy. So now, proximity and geofencing, I met with an SEO guy a couple of weeks ago, and the technology that he told me that they're utilizing right now to hyper target ads, like for instance, you can pick a competitor like Starbucks and put a fence around Starbucks, and every person that's in Starbucks down the road from here on their Google ads, they're going to see your targeted ads. So the same way as you can Facebook target ads within a 3-mile radius, or people that click on nonsense articles. I think I saw Pete put that the other day. Because it's tagging and identifying those people to then play into the marketing that's going to trigger them.
Yeah. I mean, what better place? What better way for a dispensary to market than at another dispensary?
Yeah. So the guy told me about car dealerships that are doing it. And he said that, the car dealerships are doing it right now. And like somebody's sitting there and they get an ad, don't sign that lease right now until you check out Toyota, right across the street, and they're getting that while they're searching for lease rates in their targeted ads through Google and Google AdWords. And obviously the cannabis industry is blocked from all of that right now. But, it's something that people are using, especially to sell products online, with what's happening with the coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, targeting people is what it's all about. Target, like hyper targeting people now, and because people are in their echo chambers, you know what they want to hear, and you just tell them what they want to hear.
And that's not only for ads, but that's also for news articles. That's also for, videos, YouTube videos, suggested videos that you may or may not like. All of a sudden I noticed that I'm getting new YouTube suggested videos to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of that, trying to make my videos get suggested.
Yeah.
To people.
Right. Well, that what's interesting too is that's all with the current technology, right? And so you're holding your phone, and you have the ability to turn your phone off and to not have it with you. But with the new grid system that's coming out, you literally cannot escape the camera. You cannot escape the camera system unless you like literally have some type of mask on all the time. But that's just insane, right? Like,
so basically, Pete, in the future, you won't even have to have a phone. You just look at the camera and say, I need an Uber.
Yep.
Lucius, do you remember, like, did you ever see the Black Mirror where the guy like is like in the room and he has to and the room is basically made out of screens like TVs, and the ads run, and if he closes his eyes, the ads stop, and if he opens his eyes, the ads go on again. So you have to watch the ads, or else they just shut off. Like you can't get out of the room until you finish watching.
I missed that one, but I know the show. Yeah, very cool show.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting though that you won't be able to disconnect from your device, and so literally because you are the device and everything's looking at you instead, and so as you walk around and you talk and all that stuff, there's going to be little to no privacy.
So this brings us to something else. Who holds the power of that control? Is it and I was talking to somebody that came in the shop about a week ago, and they were saying that IBM is the most powerful company out there because they control the gateways to a lot of these camera systems, to the data banks, to the computer systems. Now, the network that connects to it, that could be any network, 5G, 4G, Elon Musk's new satellite system that goes out there. But really who controls the padlock, so to speak, are the computer companies that are out there.
It's very true, and they're all selling their data, clearly, to governments and bigger companies that have money to buy it.
Yeah. So like if your device decides, just like if all of a sudden your device decides to block certain YouTube content, certain news content, there's nothing you can do to stop that. If you're married to that device.
But
right.
if you're being targeted, right? You're being targeted by your behavior. So you can throw kind of confounders in there, almost the way they took down Napster was like just overloading it with bogus files, so nobody used it anymore. So what I would do is, like, I figured this out when I was working at Westwood, because I was representing conservative talk shows, liberal talk shows, Fox News, CNN, like I was representing everyone. So my search history and everything that I looked for was on both sides of the spectrum.
Snowball effect.
It was really hard to pinpoint where the hell I was. I was all over the place because I was researching stuff, right? So it wasn't all my personal preferences.
That's where the Grindr search came from.
Right. Okay. So I understand what you're saying. So you have to like fake your day though. You're gonna have to like walk to this store, pretend like you're gonna walk into a dress or something, and then be like, no, I want some flowers, and then go to the Publix.
Drive through the McDonald's, drive through, but don't buy anything.
Start going a couple times. Look at your watch.
You got people
going out of your way,
parking at a Chick-fil-A, but walking next door to McDonald's to get
exactly. Leaving your phone over at the Burger King.
Because they don't want their insurance to see it. But I've been saying this for years. Our insurance, cars already have it. You're opting in where you could be a safe driver and have cheaper car insurance. Health insurance is going to analyze, your diet, what you've been eating, your watch that's hooked up to you for your exercise. I didn't think we were going to go down this route, but it's kind of fun while we're here.
No, I didn't know what we'd be talking about either. It's very interesting.
And the interesting thing to me is that we thought that this stuff was going to be Big Brother, like it was going to come and like be surveillance. And at the end of the day, it became all voluntary for our own convenience that we're using, like the different types of smart technology, because we don't necessarily need to, but we choose to because it makes our lives easier, you know. So we kind of play into that. When I was still in New York, or when I was in high school, they started doing Easy Pass more, which is just like Sun Pass here, like for the tolls. And I was like, this is so they can track everywhere that I'm going. I'm only paying cash. And then they like made like one cash lane on the bridge. So it was like, if you were going to pay cash, you were going to be there for a half hour waiting online. So you had to use Easy Pass, you know? So they kind of like push you into like having to use these technologies, and then they're tracking everything that you do. So what are you going to do? I just kind of,
well, now they got everybody using this free software to do video chats. Yeah. So they're logging into their camera and their mic. They're allowing that to be turned on. If you were living off the grid and you never claimed taxes before, but you want this $1,200 stimulus check, you have to log on to the IRS's site and tell them a bank account information, and you have to opt into that. You know, so there's a lot of things going on right now that are collecting information about us, especially while they're putting us in a stressful situation at home alone to be able to track. It's almost like we're in a controlled experiment. What do you think, Pete?
I think it's interesting that all of our conversations are now like electronic, right? So like there's a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of face-to-face conversations anymore. And I'm interested to see how the mafia is dealing with this, because there's a lot of face-to-face conversations that go on, and now it's all telephonic communications. I don't think that
I can't talk to you about it, Pete. Yeah, you got.
I'm gonna break your legs if you don't get that.
The imaginary mafia.
There's no such mafia. Mafia's been gone for 25 years.
Well, I think there's a lot of work done in that field right now too, as far as like child trafficking. Apparently,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Any organized, I don't see how any crime goes uncaught. You know, I don't see how shoplifting. I don't see how, you know, a simple assault. You know, we have video cameras everywhere. You know, and not just caught on video, but, you know, persecuted. You know, we could see we've got traffic light cameras, right, that give people tickets for running lights. You know, when is it going to come down to we get a ticket for jaywalking? Or, you know, and that goes into that Black Mirror episode, or, you know, in China where everybody has a rating system where you're rated for, you know, where it knows if you held the door open for the old lady behind you.
That's pretty much being implemented right now, though, isn't it? Isn't that kind of becoming a real thing in China? Or where they actually have some type of system that says like COVID positive, COVID potentially negative. It's not necessarily like a rating system, but it's you're being, I don't know, they're monitoring you as you walk around, and there's judgments being placed. And people that have yellow rating probably you don't want to hang out with a yellow rated guy or a red guy. And so it's the one step away, in a way.
We are. You know, it goes back to, I had said years ago, it would be great if your watch was connected to something that, and it identified somebody that was a match near you, and it just thumped, you know, and it knew that you were near a person that was good or bad, you know, and if it was a bad person, you know, it pushed you away from them, you know, but not on your self-opted in questions, you know, like your Tinder profile or your, you know, that you opt in and but off your real behavior, you know, what you really do. And that's what's rating people.
What's interesting to me is that it's not even just in real time and what's going on while they're watching you, but from all that data that they're collecting, they can make predictive models, right? So like just like shopping, just like Amazon or Target knows what you're going to buy in 6 months based on your past shopping habits and all this other stuff. They can put together predictive models for anything, any kind of behaviors. And then you go down the Minority Report kind of.
That was just the movie that came to mind. That's hilarious. You know? Yeah. But your predictive models can be like horribly wrong. For example, in the case of the current COVID pandemic, right? Like the models predicted, I don't even know, like millions of deaths, like just something ridiculously high that we haven't even come close to.
The information that we're fed. And it wasn't in 2016 that they did this with the elections, where Facebook was gearing certain articles towards certain demographics that were different than other articles. I can't remember the specifics. Pete, do you remember?
Well, they basically, and it's still that Facebook does it now. I mean, they target you based on what you already are interested in, which is the whole model. The whole model is we want to keep you on the platform, so we're going to keep you with stuff that you're interested in. So we're going to see everything you click on, and we're only going to show you stuff that's similar to what you like. It's the side effect of that is that you tend to live in an echo chamber and only hear your own opinion. So you won't get other opinions. And that's what I think causes a lot of the, the divisiveness that we have today. I think it comes from people being even more so put into these echo chambers, because if you have an opinion, you can corroborate it. Like, there's a million places to corroborate. It doesn't matter what it is. You can find people online that agree with you and entrench you into that opinion.
Yeah.
So at what age do you get caught in an echo chamber, right? Because you're developing through like life, and you've been learned and taught things. And so at a certain point, you kind of have this artificial intelligence telling you all the time, hey, this is what you think. This is what you know. And so it's challenging to remove yourself from that echo chamber too, especially I was going to say, like, with Facebook just always saying the same thing to you. And,
But Alex, I was just going to say that's what they said in that movie, Out of the Shadows, that we're told things by people we trust, like that is a dog.
Exactly.
This is a dog.
Well, not only that, but how to treat people and how to act. And you come up with these like assumptions that if a really good example is the prison guard experiment. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
They got, right. And so they got the random students to think that they were prisoners, other students to think they're guards. And you literally have the guards beating the prisoners by the end of it because they're trying to play the role
in a
that
day.
think they're supposed to play. It doesn't make any sense, And so people are hypnotized because of this echo chamber you speak.
They become what they're expected to be.
Exactly.
Well, there's also human behavior that you can trigger, and there's things that you can do to manipulate people, and it's not that difficult, So I remember, Tom, like when we would see like Garen would get people to put their arm on the wall, and like you would get people to imitate your body movements and stuff like that. There's a lot of ways to manipulate people and get them to do what you want, it's kind of like involuntary. It's like there's all these things that when someone gives you something, you feel so much like you want to give something back. It's like hard, you have to fight it,
It's like the subconscious harmony, or you could say even like karmatic relations, and like it plays into the natural spirit of the human. Like you give, like you just said, you give somebody something, they want to give it back because they want that equal exchange.
It's very difficult to fight that, and it's easy to manipulate that feeling,
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that happens all the time, for sure.
Have you guys seen the Matthew McConaughey video of him undercover on YouTube?
No, I haven't seen that one. No.
Oh gosh, it's hilarious. So Matthew McConaughey goes out on the here, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. So he's Moondog.
Reach for the moon. Matthew McConaughey was here last night with Snoop Dogg. They were promoting their new movie, The Beach Bum. And in the movie, Matthew plays a guy named Moondog is his character. Moondog, among other things, is a marijuana enthusiast.
He's with
an interesting idea. We said out of, which was really just a bunch of stuff. Moondog.
Let's share this.
What's your name?
Ashana.
Moondog. You want to get high?
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we try one of these, I got to tell you, it's a very quick rant.
Okay.
Meaning, in 5 to 6 seconds, you're going to feel it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So, this is called the pot dog.
Okay.
Now, in these fresh tomatoes, I've infused a little bit of THC, which is all organic. And in this mustard, I've infused some lemon zest with THC. Now, to do that, along with the hot dog, take a bite of that. How do you feel right now before?
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, try that. Okay. Chew well, chew well, chew well, chew well. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
That's crazy.
Tingly. Starting down here. How about your toes? Clear your head back. Now.
Is that hysterical or what?
Is that just a regular hot dog?
He was told, but it was by the power of of suggestion, so to speak.
Of course.
And it just goes to show how we all can be influenced. And it goes on. It's hysterical, but he's just stopping people on the street, and the power of suggestion and getting reactions like that. And I think that we're all victims of that at some point.
That's what do you think I always go off on marketing for, and Disney, and marketing to kids and stuff like that. And like, it's because that's what that is. Marketing in and of its essence is, you need this, you're empty, you're incomplete without whatever I'm trying to give you. And you're telling that to kids is, like from they're born, and drilling that into their head, they're not enough. It's awful.
I 100% agree.
And that's why, even what you're doing, Alex, with creating things that give a positive message and encourage thought process.
It's about confidence building too. Confidence in your dreams is a huge thing, because that's really in my opinion, the killer of success or happiness in a way is lack of confidence, insecurity. People like, they're afraid to move forward because someone might say something, or they might not get the direct outcome that they're expecting. And so there's this lack of confidence, and it gets instilled in you from a child, like someone tells you you're dumb. Now you believe you're dumb.
And that's what I was getting to. Yeah. Your belief system is formed while you're young. So the same person that tells you this is a dog, and you believe them that that's a dog, if they tell you you're stupid or you're dumb, you're going to believe that you're stupid or you're dumb. And
likewise.
As we grow.
So at the Martial Arts Academy, we tell them you're a leader.
Yeah.
But then at the same sense, it's like a leader, you can just do this. It's really quite easy. You say a leader sits up straight, and you'll see everyone instantly. And so it's about building that confidence, though, to do what you can do, right?
And they want to emulate those actions of what they believe a leader is or who's out there. And that's why, we're so, we have the wool pulled over our eyes on what being a leader means. It's having so many followers on Instagram. It's, wearing, certain clothes or sitting near certain cars and, flashing money. And because everybody's living digitally and they're having this pushed on them 24 hours, 7 days a week now. Whereas before, it was your circle of influence. You had your teachers at school. So exactly. I know the coaches, Coach Bobo and Coach Lind in high school, they were huge influences on me, as I grew older. Now some of the influences, they're uninvited. They're influences that we wouldn't want around our children.
Completely uninvited, yeah. And that's all, not all through social media, but highly through social media. And then, growing up, even as a kid, your parents would say that TV over there is going to make you dumb. It's the same thing, but now it's even more apparent and more in your face, to where it's even harder to escape.
Yeah.
And the people can actually talk back to you. It's not just listening to them and them not having a negative opinion about you. Now they're like in your face, 5,000 people telling you, your idea is bad or your idea is good when it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst part.
Right.
That's the worst thing. And, that's where we go back to everybody gets a trophy. There's a balance between that. I coached soccer for 12 years. When I started coaching early, it was extremely competitive. As my kids grew older, they brought in these, experts that basically, changed the game to where everybody was a winner, which is great because that builds confidence and it keeps a lot of kids in sports longer because it gives them encouragement, but it also gives false encouragement. So where you just said before, where, not every idea is a great idea. Not every, action is a great action. And once people start becoming dependent on feeling that everything is good and everything's great, the first moment they hit adversity or a difference in opinion or not a pat on the back, they fold or they lash out,
Yeah, self-confidence is huge.
Yeah.
It's a really long way. Yeah.
So what are you doing today, Pete?
Work. Got a lot of work to do. Interweb stuff. Try and influence
on the
people
web.
to do what I want them to.
What you need to do is it's got to be where you do it, and then it's on the web.
That's it.
And it's on the net.
On the net.
You take the picture, and it's on the net.
It's on the web.
On the interwebs.
So there's like this web, and things just sit on it.
It's more caught in the web as opposed to on it.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud. It's in the cloud. Well, you know, like we said before, I think more and more people are connecting like this. I think we're getting closer to the end of quarantine. You know, if not May 15th, June 1st, maybe, you know, a common date. But I'm seeing that a lot of states are going to start opening up, and you know, you're torn between, you know, what's the right thing for people's health wise, obviously, and you know, what's the benefit for society as a whole.
Yeah, we shall see.
You know, but you know, the reports, I guess, are going to show, and we'll see what's happening. But I don't think this is the last time we're going to deal with something like this.
Oh
No, it's really interesting to see too which measures continue throughout this a year from now. You know, what kind of freedoms and liberties no longer exist. You know, like we had there was before, and then there's going to be after. Clearly during the transition, it will slowly go to more like it was before, but how much will it go that way?
Well, I
Right?
think we've accepted, you know, a lot of these conditions as how we want to live. Just like, you know, going through the airport, it's safer that we have to go through these machines and take our shoes off, obviously, you know. But, you know, I guess Costco's enacting starting Monday masks now. If you
Right, exactly. And so that's where it's like it's so easy to manipulate people when you say, well, you could kill your grandparents if you're not safe.
Yeah.
You know, that's the easiest way to manipulate people. And so it's just and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so it's important for people to do like proper research and to really know why they're acting the way they're acting, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's all my concern is in the future that people are know why they're doing what they're doing, and they're not just acting because someone said so. You know.
This is true. This is true. Well, I'm getting off. I know I got to get a haircut soon.
I'm almost there. Yeah.
You know, my hair. I know Pete got his cut at home. You know, I actually think I got somebody coming to cut my hair later today.
That was the famous Colleen haircut right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Crazy right now.
It's awesome.
You need racing lines.
It's high up. I know. Let's take it a little longer. I'm gonna do the sides.
You got to do a V-neck in the back. It's like the Boys to Men look.
That's right.
I was just thinking like I watched the movie Barbershop yesterday. And the guy does an eye in the back of his head.
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Has anybody walked into a bank with a mask and a bandana on yet?
I wanted to, but they were closed. I went up to the bank. I was like, I'm gonna go in with my bandana and glasses because they always ask me to take my glasses off, but I was gonna do it, you know. And the bank was closed. Said call ahead if you want to come inside.
Our local Jets, Jets Pizza place. 2 guys came in and stole the tip jar with masks on.
You got to change your mask then afterwards.
I guess I don't know. They were like, oh, it was 2 guys in a mask. You know, it's tough to recognize people. I got a lot of beauticians that come in here and they change the color of their hair every other day, and they wear masks, and I can't tell who they are.
That's funny.
You can't tell if they're making faces at you.
They got different hair colors and they got a mask on. You know? And I'm like, hey, have you ever been here before? And they're like, they come every day. They just look totally different. But all right, guys. Well, have a great day. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for having me. Sure.
I think we're gonna see a lot more. I still like my app, contact consent. Basically, you're giving consent for whatever contact you're gonna allow. So if you allow hugs, you allow hugs. If you allow handshaking, you allow naked twisters. Okay, it's in your profile.
So how would that exactly work? So would it like pop up on your cell phone? This guy, he's okay with hugs and kisses. Like,
yeah, it will pop up when you're within 6 feet of him. And then you would just run up to him and hug him.
That's
So
funny.
it's called Hug a Stranger software.
That's a pretty fun idea.
Yeah, that's another thing from Garen. Hug a stranger. He would
I
just
like it.
walk up and hug a stranger, you know, in random cities.
You guys, so a lot of guys are trained in martial arts. Some of them might do a judo toss. You know, if you get them from the back, just something like that. But it'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah, you know, contact consent. I allow punches to the face. You know,
I do not consent to punches to the face.
no consent. I allow wrist lock and finger pulling.
Wrist lock, you're cool, yeah. Americana or whatever. Immoral, whatever.
All right, guys. Well, what day? It's Wednesday. I think it's almost the end of April, believe it or not. I don't know about you guys, but I'm gaining weight because I'm not exercising and I'm eating terrible. I got my whole garage set up, but I just haven't been getting out there and doing it. I need to do something tonight because I'm achy.
You go
Start
first.
on the first.
Start on the first. The first of what? April?
Just the first.
There is no April.
If you missed the first, then start on the first.
You just start at the first again. All right, guys, have a great day. I don't even know if this streamed to Facebook or not because I'm blocked, but it might have. But if not, I'll download it and put it on YouTube. Oh, it must have because you were on, Pete.
I saw it. Yeah.
You were on Facebook, so it did stream.
Yes, sir.
You believe that? I'm blocked for 24 hours. I can't even comment on posts. I can't send a message in Messenger.
Now I want to see that flower if it was so good. It got flagged.
The crazy part was, you know, there's 6 different strains and there's a description of all 6. And right after I posted it, I read it. And I guess he didn't have anybody proofread because the Terps was listed 3 times. So the same exact description was for Lemon Kush and something else. And and when I posted it, I read it. So I sent Carlos a text. I was like, don't you proofread or your guy? And he was dying laughing. He's like, oh my gosh, I just wasted $80 at USP. But he was so proud when he dropped it off. He's like, I got 6 brand new strains, and here's a description of all 6 strains.
It's all the same.
I think it's still on my Instagram. They didn't block the
They
Instagram.
come up with new names all the time. It's funny.
It's just being honest. It's all the same.
Yeah. It is. All right, guys, take it easy.
Have a good one.
Good to see you, Lucius. Take care,
Yeah,
man.
see ya.